immediately. Remember that if we come up with things concerning elimination and all that, it will take us some good years. It will take long periods of time for them to be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, but as esteemed farmers, we suggest that we should only use merit-based systems to come up with ways of deciding of making our decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, if we come together and take a view that that males and females are all equal, and we have to choose the individuals that are capable to do work based on skills, the knowledge, the experiences, and all other kind of merits that they would have, we would tackle the issues of you complaining that girls are not being given this and this, than going for long time issues that our government wouldn't really address really fast. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen right now that we are debating under the Chagai Foundation, and it was only the girls that were called. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen that girls are being favored here because girls voices want to be reasoned. Girls want to be given tactics of how they will decide their decisions by their own. Don't you think that in 15 years to 20 years to come, that boys will be nobody? One gender would have been downweighed, one gender would have been left behind. Now we are representing Chagai Foundation. Where are the boys? There are some organizations that also favor the girls, and boys are left out. You find that in schools, boys sometimes miss school, saying that we went to hustle and all that. We needed some things for ourselves, and this is because girls are being taken care of right now. And now if we are to bring laws or try to eliminate things that are hindering, because some of the things right now that are hindering the discriminatory practices that they are talking about are the cultural norms. How about if I argue that these cultural norms and traditions serve to maintain social stability, and the gradual change and aligned with cultural norms, values, and are more effective than abrupt shifts? These things are more effective. Our cultural norms are more effective than abrupt shifts of elimination and all that, which would take us some good years to address them. Ladies and gentlemen, our biggest picture is to make our decisions based on merits. Ladies and gentlemen, you people try to mistake our team case, but we are not trying to put boys as the lead, but we are trying to say that we need to get our leaders through merits. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something that you people mentioned about security and safety of women. Ladies and gentlemen, women currently in our country are safe, or there are some parts whereby women have problems and all that, like you mentioned, that they are forced marriages and all that. These kind of things are associated with cultural norms. And later on, will you go to somebody's father and tell that your child should not be forced marriage because you've come as the government and all that? Don't you think it is going to bring society unrest? Ladies and gentlemen, let us look at a picture whereby when we are trying to change something now, it shouldn't come with negative things. It should be replaced. If you want to change something, replace it with something much better, but not something that will lead us into cries. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to stop here. Thanks.
I start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Dear judges, I'm quite confused here. I don't understand what team negators are really bringing to the table. Do they want equality or they want inequality? They do not make it clear to us. Right from their first speech, the first speaker come and tell us that their team case is based on merit system, building merit system. But then, are they really building merit system, dear judges? No, because they are not allowing women to come onto the stage, speak their voices, then they choose because they have the qualifications in order to lead. They are only leaving men at that stage because they are men, and they think that women should stay down. I don't think this point applies. Then again, they tell us that women are not being mistreated. I don't really understand why they're saying they are not being mistreated. When I'm studying, I'm still a young girl. I'm being taken off and given in marriage. I'm not okay with that marriage. The man will abuse me because he paid dowry. Isn't that mistreatment? I see this is a very big loophole in their case, and we need to eradicate this in order to go into growth and development. Then again, they are saying that if women are given chance to speak for themselves, this means that we are forcing everyone to get involved. I don't see how this apply, because now men are given a chance to speak for themselves and lead the country, but not every man is leading. Why so? Because you have a freedom of speech and freedom of choice, so they choose if they want to lead the country or if they do not want to lead the country. That doesn't apply in today's case. Now, moving on further, they said that cultural norms and cultural norms and these discriminatory practices might be hard to eliminate or too expensive. Like, if these funds are there, they should be put into other sectors. We do not deny that they should be put into other sectors, but I would like team negators to clarify, should we end school? Because I stated in my first speech, school is mandatory, and if it is integrated in school, everyone will go to school and they will learn, and they will understand that women should be given rights as men, and then we choose based on the qualification and characteristic and merits that they bring to the table. Then again, we go on, they are telling us that on their first point of argument, they talk about cultural norms preservation. Are we preserving a culture where women are being treated every day? Are we preserving culture where women are being removed from school and gotten off married when they are not ready for it? Are we supporting a cultural norm where women are supposed to be forced into marriage just because they are women? Are we supporting a culture where women are not supposed to speak up for their daughters just because they are women, and men are allowed to make rules and regulations for girls, when you should get married, when you should not, and what you should do and what you should not do? I don't think that's a world we're advocating for. Then negators come up and they tell us that they are going for individual rights. They are not really showing us how they are going for individual rights here, because I do not see them allowing women to speak for themselves. They are only allowing men to go on the stage and then be leaders. They are not giving girls the chance to speak and be able to lead or rule the country. Then now they tell us in their second speech that education, as long as the girl has gone to school, it's enough. It's not okay to to pursue career. It's not okay to go and chase your dreams to become a better version of yourself, become a lawyer, maybe become a vice president, and so on and so forth. As long as you have tested school, that is it and done. That's what they state in their speech, and I don't think this is really what we are looking for. We want girls to pursue careers. We want them to go for further studies. We want them to move abroad to become better versions of themselves, and this is what we're advocating for. Team proposition and team negators don't want such a world. Then again, they talked about over gender emphasis. I think this really collide with their case very well, because for us, we are not emphasizing on only girls being leaders. We are saying that they should be given the chance to talk together with men, so that we can be able to choose people based on their qualifications and not based on their gender. Because what they are clearly telling us is that girls should not raise their voices. That means men should always be the one to lead. For us, we just stay down, we study, and that's it. When a father wants to get us married off, it's okay. We should get married off. Can I have 15 seconds, please? Thank you. Then again, they're saying complexity of gender and all stuff and so on and so forth. I do not see how this one apply, because these are the same issues that we are trying to sort out. Gender complexity. We are trying to give everyone a right so that they can speak for themselves. But then we are not doing so. So team negators clearly don't understand today's motion, and we are so proud to affirm.
Okay. As amazing as this has been, judges, I leave this to you. Deliberate, since I don't think there's any more questions to be asked. Deliberate, and we'll come back in. You're ready. Perfect. You can give your verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the privilege. At this time, we are just going to give the remarks, of which I will dwell on some, not everything that I've written. Beginning with team proposition's case, let's first look at the motion itself. What is it trying to address, or what is the motion looking for from both teams? This is a policy motion which can also be incorporated into value motion, but based on the team's tonight's presentation, they were into the policy motion. As they characterize it as a policy motion. So what was the audience expecting from the teams, both teams of tonight? When we look at team proposition, this is a team which is standing with the motion that the discriminatory practices and some of the cultural norms which are hindering girls' participation in decision making should actually be eliminated out. That is their argument, their general argument. While team opposition, either they also come and oppose the motion by saying, no, they should not be eliminated out, or others should be eliminated out while others should be left. So based on that argument, each can match. However, team proposition's case goes like this. We expect both teams to come and characterize for us what are these discriminatory practices. They are also supposed to characterize for us what are the cultural norms that hinders girls' participation. That is what the motion is expecting, not what the judges are expecting. Team proposition went ahead talking of hiring barriers, gender discrimination, sexual harassment, child marriage, and school dropout. Seniority or authority over women being participated only by men. I think this is how they characterize their discriminatory practices which are hindering girls' participation in decision-making processes, of which they were targeting the young generation. That was their target. They are focusing on building the young generation. So there was no specification on which kind of generation, the gender in that generation, either female gender or male gender. This is the same team which was advocating for gender equality. That means they are focusing on both gender. They are not eliminating one gender out. Talking of their plans, they are planning to work with the government and some of the NGOs which are focusing on this promotion of girls' participation in decision-making processes, of which they mentioned some of these organizations to us. And they aim to introduce a new subject as an addition to citizenship, which can actively advocate for girls' participation in decision-making processes, as introduced by the first speaker, of which the motion here was keen to hear what kind of subject they are planning to introduce, but that motion ended up dying in the middle. We didn't know where it ended. So they're also planning to give some awareness, counseling girls, especially in the vulnerable communities. When we come to the points of argument presented by team proposition, they want a world where women are having voice on decision making in all the institutions of government. They also want to promote the gender discrimination they want to promote gender, in fact, they are advocating for gender discrimination so that it should stop and to eliminate some of the norms out and for inclusive gender sensitivity. So they are saying that everyone should actually have the access to education, not only the boys. These were some of their points of argument. And everyone deserves human rights. These were the key things they were focusing on as they advocate for gender equality. Maybe the motion will have expect something from them to do with what type of human rights that are not being deserved or are not really valued for the female side, and only it is valued to the male side or to the male gender. Changing some cultural norm overnight, of course, cannot happen unless it is a due process which will take time, and they accepted as it was fired by the team opposition against them. Not so convinced on the statistic or the percentage that is given to women in the national politics. Empowering and development. Empowerment and development. They mentioned to do with social, political, and economic, including some personal empowerment. And it was also explained to their best. understanding. Concerning the full case here that they have presented, if you are to look at team proposition's case, this is a team which was actively advocating for girls' participation in decision-making processes in not only one institution but in all the institutions, of which at first they claim to include both gender as they're advocating. But if you come to their constructive argument, they ended up excluding somewhere the boys or the male gender and focus so much on the female gender, on promoting the female gender. And if you look at the need, the expectation of the motion, of course it is promoting girls. They are trying to advocate for girls' participation. So the question comes, is it only girls or boys should also be involved? So the clarity or clarification on that one was not really so catchy by team proposition. Let us look at the reply speech from them. Had it been that they have presented themselves as how they have done the reply speech, it would have looked so convinced that they are having the conviction of their team case. Of course, they are looking for equality, while they want to know from the other side, what side are they taking? Are they in the side of inequality or equality? That was the question. The cultural norms are preservation, which was attacked by team proposition as a point by team opposition, of which it was expected for them to present what are the types of the cultural norms that should really be eliminated out, and how do they currently affect the society, especially the ladies in the society of South Sudan. That is the brief overview. I think I've talked on the case, the team case, and I've also hinted how where the weaknesses came from. Let's look at team opposition side. Team opposition's case this was the team which was actively debating or advocating for other alternatives that need to be considered than promotion of girls' participation in decision making. They said if we only focus on promoting one gender, which is the girls or the female gender, confusion will come, because one gender will be left out, and at the end of the day, they will be forgotten as the people are focusing on promoting one gender. On the other hand, the nation needs both gender, so one gender should not be eliminated out. This is whereby the point of street boys or street children came out. This is also whereby the point of the GES funding came out. That currently the GES is only funding ladies and the boys are left out, but both genders faces some similar challenges. This was their main argument as team opposition. To save the time, I'm not going to run on them all. They were so argumentative on the issue of girls or women already given the chance and the opportunity to participate in government office. But the problem is they undermine or they underestimate or they neglect the organization which are actively advocating for their participation. That is what they were saying. That it's not that the platform is not there, the platform is already there, but women are not taking their chance to its advantage. So, instead of keeping on dwelling on same thing, let them look on other things that can help people, such as economics. That's what they were saying. Instead of wasting the money on promoting same gender, they should now consider something which will bring both gender into developmental activities. That was the key point of refutation by team opposition. What was expected is, you are talking about economic. How do you tend to use that money which is being wasted on promoting same gender to involve both genders and help the vulnerable people from the locality or their communities, so that the development you are talking about should come at least to its standard? It was not specified. You just dwell the discussion on economic and sustainable development. So team opposition are also aiming, in fact, they strongly advocate for cultural acknowledgement, that it should really be respected because of their originality. These cultures did not start yesterday, it started a long way ago, so it should be respected. That was their argument, instead of eliminating it out and focus on economic development, which will not come up with barriers, because everyone must be actively engaged and participate for the development of the society. That was their argument. On the reply speech, they are focusing so much also on merit-based decision, that people should be selected in terms of decision making or elected based on their qualification, not that because of their gender is having few participation in that institution, so they should increase on the gender. But it should not be that way. It should look at what is the individual's qualification to best fit that position, and that is why the government is currently having two female vice president out of the 5 vice president. So if they are to consider the issue of gender, women will be recruited to these institutions not based on their qualification, but because they are trying to promote gender equality and inclusive gender sensitivity in the country, which was right, and it was matching their argument, their team argument. But the thing is here is, which kind of merit-based decision are you trying to make? It was not really clarified. Which kind of merit? Because when we talk of merit, this is something which need to be also characterized, just like these are discriminatory practices we are talking about. That one was not really clarified by the team opposition. And also they did not really specify for us which side they are taking. Are they taking the inequality side, or equality side, whereby they will incorporate both gender? Though they are trying to indicate for us that both gender should be considered, it's like they are into the side of the male's gender, because when they were so much emphasized on the street boys or the street children, it looks like they are taking also one gender. So I think the confusion came between the two teams on the issue of gender. Though also team proposition at first included both gender, they ended up eliminating one gender out. And team opposition did not clarify to the audience or the house either their standing was both gender. The debate was just hanging out there, and I think that is where the loopholes came from. Though I'm not declaring the result yet, I'm trying to tell you your weakness and where you have done well, so that when they declare the final judgment, you will understand what has led you down. From here, I rest my remarks. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Nelson Poyo. I understand you have touched a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't be taking long. I will just take you through what was rebutted and what was not throughout the debate. I am Judge Manyok Philip, Judge 2, in this case, in today's debate. Now, let's see. There are key words here, 4 key things I believed, and I wanted the debating teams to at least characterize and give us the clarity that we actually needed as audience and even the judges themselves. One of these keywords was discriminatory practices, which I believe Team Proposition did very well. At some points, they were able to at least give us more examples of these practices. And then cultural norms was also done to some extent, but then that is in terms of definition, that was perfect. But then the term of its characterization, it wasn't done. Again, decision-making processes was not characterized, which is the key point in this debate, because the resolution states we are advocating for girls' participation, equal participation of girls in decision-making processes in all platforms, whether in government or even at home. This was not characterized at all. And I believe every mess that you're going to see in this debate came as a result of this not being characterized or well clarified. Again, in this resolution, we're supposed to have some characterization or more example, more detail, more information about gender-sensitive policies. What are these policies? Though somebody tried touching about the mechanism, I believe this is what the person was trying to advocate for. But at some points, there was less in this debate concerning gender-sensitive practices and policies. Now, throughout the debate, Team Proposition is saying we have a problem. Girls are not participating in decision-making processes. Why is this? This is because of the cultural norms and some practices that are discriminating. So for this reason, we are trying to eliminate these practices. We don't need them anymore because we need girls to participate. This is the basic overview of that team. The other team is saying no. Instead of eliminating these cultural norms and these discriminatory practices, we are saying for girls to participate, we are not against that. We love ladies' participation. But otherwise, instead of tampering with our cultures, because throughout the debate, they did not touch anything about these practices that are discriminating. All they touched was the cultural norms. They're saying don't tamper with cultures because they stabilize our societies. They have some importance. So don't touch them, leave them that way. So Team Proposition as well was able to at least highlight a few things in terms of the practices that are hindering girls' participation, which was something wise of them, and I believe, and I credit you for that. Personal growth, development, and empowerment, again, development in the second speech were the key lines of argument. Policy with the government. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Poyo stated earlier, this resolution is a policy-based motion. But then to Team Proposition, you had some greater loophole here by saying you have a policy with the government, but then what are your strategies? The strategies, I believe, here are mechanisms that someone stated earlier on, especially that is Proposition 1, a joke, which I believe was well. But then there's another hindering thing here, and this is where Team Opposition got you wrong at some points, trying to repeat a certain thing. They said this policy you're trying to implement is going to take so long. So instead of this, we need to have urgent responses right now. If you have that capacity, if you have that finance, we believe this is a long-term process. So we are not going to deal with that when we have other pressing problems that we can attend to as recent. Now, this came as a result of you trying to failing to frame or give us your framework, especially in the aspect of time. How long are you going to take to implement this policy? This did not happen with Team Proposition, and I believe Team Opposition took the opportunity and at least gave you what you really deserved for not making that right. Team Opposition is saying decision-making participation is not wrong at all, but then we still believe through gender equality, we know girls already have the platforms. They have access to education. They're even supported by organizations like Girls Education South Sudan, but still they're not coming up. So we believe this is not a problem of inequality. It's the problem of them failing to take the opportunity. So instead of that, let's advocate for girls' participation through merit basis. If there are practices that are not allowing girls that are able, that are experienced, then these are things we need to take out. These are things we need to discard as a nation. That is how I understood team opposition. Team opposition as well was able to at least highlight to team proposition that girls already have their rights, so they have right to talk. So why I expected team proposition at least to prove that wrong by telling us no, they don't have right in this, they don't have right in this. At some point, that did not happen. And then on the law that restrict girls or women from participating in government, there's no law constituted like that. So it was asked, but then still team proposition did not respond to that. Organizations supporting boys are not there, but for girls they are there. This implies that there's already an advocacy going on for girls' education and empowerment as well. And then one thing is that caught my attention is from team opposition. I really love it. Somebody stayed and was like, this is nature. Inequality is nature, so we cannot achieve it. You're trying to oppose nature. We believe that men are superior than women, and again, women are inferior to at least men. So for this reason, it's nature we are trying to oppose, and therefore we cannot achieve this. Instead, let's get only those who are able, those who are experienced to participate in decision making, something we are not disputing. So throughout the debate, there are a lot of things to do with the policy being very expensive. It was well addressed by team proposition by saying, even if it is expensive, we believe it is worthy. So it's valuable. We have to do it. This is a very good response to that. On the long-term thing, they only stated it is achievable, it can be achieved, though it is going to take long, which I believe was not enough. We're supposed to restrict that to time frame. Again, another thing is on cultures being preserved, the other team was able to say, no, in this world, we are moving out of the world of mistreatment, going to a digital world where we experience human rights. I expected team proposition to at least point out these human rights that are not preserved in that world they are living, the world of mistreatment. And then they took cultural preservation as women mistreatment, which is something team opposition did not respond to. I believe you're getting what I'm trying to express here. Access to education, girls are supported in schools, everyone has equal rights to education in South Sudan. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, the debate was really interesting, and I believe one day, one time, we'll have something more than this. Thank you very much for your participation. I am Judge Manuel Philip. Here I have the pleasure to welcome the final judge, the chief judge of today's debate, that is to say Mr. Malek, to declare the results, including the best speaker of today's debate. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my colleague judges, the two debating teams. The debate has really been so amazing. The level of preparation was really 100%. You really understood the resolutions. You all debated on something that you all understood, and which was really nice. You didn't make it so hard for us. We were able to understand what you guys are trying to address. You already had a solution, but you had a problem already, but you were providing solutions, which was so easy for us to understand as judges. Won't take a lot of time. I'll just go through what we are prepared. As you always know, at the end of the day, when you especially when you have your garden, you plant your crops, and then at the end of the day, you know that you'll harvest them, take them to the market, and then get the profit that you want. So this is now to announce the results. I know a lot have been said by my colleague judges, and I don't want to take a lot of time going through what has been said earlier. The debate has really been so amazing, both sides. The differences are not that much, because like when you understand something, it becomes easy for you to attack the other person's argument, which was really nice, and you have really shown to us that you were prepared, and which is really good and nice. The team affirmative, You came out with the policy. Of course, you know it's a policy resolution. And what do we do with the policy resolutions? There are times, of course, you talk of the funding body, which was the government of South Sudan and the African Union. But for how long is this policy going to be implemented? That was calling for the time frame, but you didn't have the time frame. That's why the team, the team negative came saying like, okay, now since you have the funding body, people who are going to finance this policy, why can't we lift the street boys that are having challenges? You see, that was, and I was understanding like you guys, you really understood the resolution, and it was really a competitive debate. Let me not take a lot of time. At this moment, we came out with the three best speakers. The first best speaker was Honorable Achin Pajok with a total of 72.6%. And then Honorable Atong Gak Bol with 71.6%. Honorable Atoch Manyok with 70%. We were a panel of 3 judges, each judge with his own sheet, judging independently. The first judge, let's say that you guys do your mathematics there. The first judge, that is Honorable Nelson, from the team affirmative. Let's calculate the one for affirmative first. That from his judgment sheet, from the team affirmative scored 200. And then from Honorable Manyok, the team affirmative scored 206. And then from Mr. Agas, the team affirmative scored a total of 218. That will give you a total of 624. Divide by 3. I think that will give you 28. Is that okay? Yeah. Then from the team pink, from the first judge, they scored 213, 211, 222. That will give you a total of 646. Divide by 3. It will give you 215. Okay, like in this kind of debate, we always say, okay, like when you go with one judge and they go with 2 judges, we always say it's always split. Yeah, it's a split. But when the 3 judges are on the same side, we say unanimous. So that was 3-0. We okay? So it was 3-0. I would say the difference was not that much. It was about 7, which I could say the debate was competitive and it was nice. Just keep practicing, and I would also urge the foundation that organized today debate to do more for other young ladies that are still outside there. Bring them, let them. This is one way of trying to get what problem are they facing. So I would encourage you to organize more debates such that we get to know what the young ladies are facing outside there. Let them come and speak here on behalf of those that we cannot reach out. And I appreciate the foundation for such opportunity. And the 2 debating team, I know always in debate, there's one thing, okay, there are 2 things that you expect, but most importantly, winning is always your priority. But when it happens that you lose, that doesn't mean you will lose forever. So take today lose as your how you're going to encourage yourself and commit yourself such that you do better tomorrow. I know you lose today, but you will win tomorrow because it will give you encouragement on how you are going to evaluate yourself and get out the problem or the challenges that face you and that let you down. So let today loss not discourage you, but to encourage you. That's what one thing I can tell you. And also the winning team, you shouldn't relax. Not every day is Sunday. It's you today, but it might be them tomorrow. So just know that today's win doesn't declare you as the winners forever. So, but what will make you win tomorrow is that when you keep practicing, debate is all about practicing. When you practice, that is when you become perfect. So just keep practicing. Do not relax, thinking that you are the best debater. A best debater is the person who always get to train, get to have series of debate. You can even debate with yourself alone. Get emotioned and debate with yourself. Lay your strategies for both sides. So I would say thank you so much, and the audience, I would appreciate you for having been part of this session, and thank you so much. I would like to stop here. Thank you.
Congrats, Team Pink.
Just
Team Pink are the winners,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. So you can greet us since
As we have come to the end of this discussion, I'd like to thank everyone who has participated in this. There is no loser and there is no winner, as we have all come here to present issues that are critical to women and girls. And closing, I would like to say something from Kathy Calvin, who is the United Nations Foundation president and CEO, where she says, "Girls are one of the most powerful forces for change in the world. When their rights are recognized, their needs are met, and their voices are heard, they drive positive change in their families, their communities, and in the world." I remain Monica Iman, and this is the Sot Banat podcast. We hope you'll join us next week for our next episode. Thank you.